What is good, everyone? DNGL here, at it again with another YouTube video. Now for today, I'm going to be bringing you guys all 16 of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 heroes ranked, and I'm ranking them all. Now, things to be aware of is that these are all according to how they play as of right now, that is the last week of the Last Jedi season. Any of the new heroes that have come out after the last week of the Last Jedi season, I'm afraid won't be on this video. So if Dooku, if General Grievous and Obi-Wan are added later, well, sorry, they won't be in this video. But and of course, any balancing changes to make any of these heroes better or worse, they won't be they won't be taken into account in this video, because for me, they haven't existed yet. So also, all of these ratings are basically based on heroes versus villains. This ranking is pretty much for heroes versus villains, whichever are the best heroes to choose, and which villains are the best to choose in HVV. Just because I feel like this would make the most impact in that game mode, and HVV is what I play, so it's the only thing that I really I can give you the best video at. So anyway, let's get it right into this countdown. Let's go. Alright guys, so we're starting off at the worst heroes, and then we're going to be moving up to the best heroes. So of course, the worst hero, in my opinion, for HVV is Captain Phasma. Now, I'm sure that all of you guys have seen this coming from miles away. Phasma just straight up is not good at all. Like, sure, you can find some like, sometimes you'll be able to find some success for Phasma, but just most of the time it won't happen. Phasma is not good. I'm just sorry to say this, but Phasma is just not good. Now let's go over some of the strengths and weaknesses for Phasma. Now, for strengths, there's really only one strength for Phasma, and that is her stun droid. Her stun droid's pretty useful. It'll stun people, and it can occasionally fire the bullet, so the blaster a little bit. But like, a lot of the times you'll just find yourself getting multiple time stun locked by this droid, and it's kind of annoying. I mean, but it's not to the point where it breaks the game, because Phasma won't really capitalize on anything. Like, her blasters, like, anyway, Phasma just won't really be able to capitalize on all the CC that this droid's dealing out. It's only really like, scary to be stunned by this droid when the villains are pack hunting, and then you got caught in a group of them, and then now you're basically dead because you can't move. But anyway, some of Phasma's weaknesses. Her blaster is by far the weakest in the game for the heroes. It merely tickles. Yeah, the recoil on this blaster is really bad. She's got low mobility. None of her abilities give her extra movement in any way. She doesn't have a good jump. Like, it's just the normal base jump, and it's the normal base dodge, so her mobility is not that good. Yeah, and there's just no good Phasma players. Like, have you really ever noticed any decent Phasma players? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen a single Phasma on the top leaderboards, and I've been playing HVV for like tons of games now. Like, that's literally all I play. I ranked up 30 ranks just by playing heroes versus villains, and I've never seen a Phasma on the leaderboards. But anyway, let's move on to the next hero. Alright guys, for the next worst hero, of course I'm gonna have to say it's Iden Versio. Now, the campaign makes her look really strong because you're going up against bots, but in reality, Iden's really weak. Now let's go over some of Iden's strengths and weaknesses. Now of course, the disclaimer is that anyone can do well on these heroes, but just in general, most of the time these heroes are not good, and you probably won't find much success with them. Anyway, okay, going on to Iden's strengths and weaknesses. Iden's one strength is her blaster, and her blaster is quite good. Not damage-wise. Damage-wise, Iden's blaster is kind of weak if you're using her primary fire. That's her like rapid fire. But what makes her blaster good is its versatility. She can use her rapid fire for, you know, more close range kind of a deal to like finish off some opponents, or she can use her secondary fire, which basically it's a small grenade that she hurls out, and that's pretty useful for like clearing out large groups of enemies clumped together or whatever. So that's Aiden's one strength, is her versatility with her blaster, and her secondary fire is actually quite good, and it's super fast charge up. So that's basically Aiden's own one strength. And then we have Aiden's weaknesses. So Aiden's weakness is that she's got a low DPS. Her base rapid fire weapon is not that strong. It won't deal very much damage. And just in general, you won't really find yourself getting kills with Aiden. She's got low mobility. She's got everything. She has a base run, base jump, and base dodge. And compared to a bunch of the other dark side heroes, she just has low mobility. It's because none of her abilities give her movement, and she doesn't have any special movement qualities. So her mobility is quite low. She's got really low HP. I think she's got like 550 HP or so. Somewhere around those lines. But anyway, she's really weak. Quite squishy. Her abilities are quite frankly useless. Like, her stun droid takes too long to use, and you're basically going to be dead before it even activates. Her pulse cannon, let's not even get into that. No. Okay, you guys know why the pulse cannon is useless. And then also there is her. Sorry guys, I'm kind of sick. And then you have her personal shield. Now for heroes versus villains, this won't help you in any way, shape, or form against lightsaber users. So that is why her personal shield is kind of useless, and you can't fire with your weapons while your shield is active. So that kind of sucks. Anyway, there's also no good item players. Like, well, there really isn't any. I've seen maybe 1 or 2 items get on the top 5 leaderboard, but other than that, item is just usually feeding, and you just don't really see item in general. But anyway, moving on to the next hero on the list. Alright guys, next up we have our little green friend, Yoda. Now, Yoda's debut to Star Wars Battlefront 2 is quite underwhelming, especially compared that Darth Maul, his counterpart, is so amazing. But anyway, let's get into the strengths and weaknesses of our little green friend. Some of Yoda's strengths are that he can heal his teammate with his presence, and he can also heal himself, which means that he can, aid his teammates in the most dire of situations right in the middle of a team battle, save them. And he's also really hard to hit, considering how small Yoda is. His hitbox is very tiny, and all the jumping around that he does with his lightsaber attacks, and which all adds to the fact that Yoda is very hard to hit, being very small and moves a lot. Anyway, moving on to Yoda's weaknesses. Yoda's got a very weak lightsaber, featherweight lightsaber. He doesn't deal much damage at all. Yoda does have a special block ability where he will absorb blaster fire, which is cool, but that means that he cannot block lightsabers, as he cannot absorb lightsabers. So Yoda is extremely weak against lightsaber heroes, and is merely more than just free points against the likes of Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, and Darth Maul, but who are very popular in HVV and are almost always taken. But anyway, moving on, his attack animations are very lengthy, including him like jumping around and whatever, and Yoda is just generally not fun to play. He doesn't deal damage, he doesn't get kills, and very difficult to use. But anyway, moving on to our next hero. Alright, so next we have Bossk. Now I do realize that Quinn Knight placed him pretty high on his rankings of villains, but in my opinion, I just don't think Bossk is very good. Now please don't bash me down in the comments. I know a lot of you guys might, because, oh, Quinn Knight, he placed him second, but I thought he was a god. But no, I just don't think Bossk is very good. But anyway, let's move on to Bossk's strengths and weaknesses. Alright, Bossk's amazing strength is that he can blow shit up. That is basically the only thing that I can think of which makes Bossk good. Now, just the intense gamer joy of blowing things up with Bossk's mines, and like, I don't even know what it is, like a grenade launcher. I'm not really sure what it is, but anyway, that is his one strength. Satisfying our joy of explosions. But anyway, Bossk's weaknesses: he's got very low mobility. He has his base jump and base dodge, but he does have a little bit better of a jump. Not base jump. He's got a little bit better of a jump. He's got his base run and his base dodge. But he doesn't have any abilities that boost his mobility, which means that Bossk is pretty slow, and just in general doesn't move very fast. Most people who play Bossk are just generally noobs. Just people don't seem to dodge when they play Bossk, and they just feed in general. So, which means that Bossk is very rarely on the leaderboards, and just doesn't. People don't play him well. And Bossk's dioxin grenades are very weak, and is merely more than just there for show. I mean, Bossk's dioxin grenades in HVV is basically useless. Nobody actually stays in it. It doesn't deal enough damage when they do stay in it. And Bossk's mines are pretty weak, and they don't really protect him very well. So I don't really know what's the point of his mines, because they're really weak and they don't really get any kills. So there's really no need to use his mines, unless if you just want to deal with that extra like 50 damage or whatever that it does. But anyway, moving on. Alright, now we have Lando Calrissian. Just a very boring character in my opinion. But anyway, let's move on to Lando's strengths and weaknesses, and why he is not a very good hero in Battlefront 2. But anyway, Lando's strength is that he has night vision. His pistol will be able to detect heat signatures, and then he'll be able to shoot, which makes just targeting enemies a little bit easier and a little bit easier on the eyes. But anyway, his next strength is that he has wall hacks with his disabler. Although it is timed wall hacks, it is wall hacks, and it's not as good as Rey either. But anyway, that's not one of his weak strengths, is that he is not good as Rey. But anyway, next up we have Lando does have a form of CC, which, if you guys don't already know, means crowd control. That means stuff like stuns, freezes, anything to deal with, just to like shut down opponents. That is crowd control. So he does have crowd control with his disabler, and that is a stun, so that is one of his strengths. Anyway, moving on to Lando's weaknesses. Lando's smoke grenade, in my opinion, is a big weakness, as he is the only one in HVV that would be able to utilize it, and is just generally annoying for everyone. His teammates, his enemies, everyone. I mean, that is kind of annoying when you're playing against playing with a Lando, and they just throw a smoke grenade right in the middle of everything, and you're playing someone like Han, and then you just don't know what to do because you cannot see yourself because of Lando's smoke grenade. So that is why I don't like Lando's smoke grenade. Anyway, Lando has low mobility. He is only the base jump, base run, and base dodge, which means that he cannot move around too fast, and generally I just don't like Lando. Anyway, he has a weaker pistol than the likes of Han Solo, who has a much better pistol. Han is just able to melt players better, and is just generally a better choice, because Han is better mobility and everything. Just generally way better than Lando. But anyway, moving on to our next hero. Next we have a fan favorite, Luke Skywalker. Now, very underwhelming this game. Definitely not as good as he was last in the 2015 Battlefront release. But let's highlight Luke's strengths and weaknesses. Luke's strength is that he has a lot of CC in his push and his ground tremor or whatever that is. He can send people flying and stunned, and it is quite annoying to play against Luke because of all of his CC. And Luke has good mobility with his good jump, with his force jump, and his fast sprint speed and decent dodge. And he also has his mobility ability, which is quite nice to get around the map and to close gaps. But anyway, Luke's weaknesses. Luke is just generally has a weaker lightsaber than the likes of Rey, which means that he is probably not as good as Rey, which I'll talk about in a little bit further. But anyway, Luke's attack animations are kind of annoying in my opinion, and I just don't really like Luke's attack animations, and they're probably not as smooth as they could be, and they don't look very good. But anyway, Luke's third weakness is Rey. Now Rey is his weakness is because Rey is just better in every single way than Luke. Luke's has worse abilities, worse damage, worse health, just doesn't compare to Rey in any way. So I think we're done here. Let's move on. Alright, so now we are getting into the middle of the list, and we are kicking it off with Kylo Ren. Let's highlight some of Kylo's strengths and abilities. So Kylo's strength is that he has some decent CC as well in his freeze and his pull ability. You can count those as CC because they can disable the hero and is considered crowd control. Kylo's second strength is that he has a gap closer with his pull, so he is able. Now the reason why I don't say like Luke has a gap closer with his dash ability is because his dash ability is going into the mobility section, and Kylo's pull is not a mobility ability, if you know what I mean, because it doesn't affect his mobility. It only affects the opponent's mobility by pulling them in. There was a lot of mobility words said in the same sentence, but anyway, moving on. Kylo's frenzy ability is pretty good, considering that it can deal quite a bit of damage, and it's a hands-off ability, just letting you sit back, relax, and watch the damage being dealt, and it deals quite a bit of damage. And Kylo's last strength is that he has a really badass lightsaber with his crossguard. It looks super sick, and yeah, it feels badass playing as Kylo. But anyway, Kylo's weaknesses is his low mobility, even though because his pull ability is not a mobility ability. Wow, that's a lot. Kylo's base dodge, his normal hero run, and his better force jump just doesn't compare to any of the lightsaber users and some of their abilities which boost their mobility. So lightsaber is considered Kylo Ren is considered one of the less mobile lightsaber heroes. His lightsaber is just generally weak, mostly, and like Kylo just mostly relies on frenzy to get him kills, and he's just no specialization. There's just a lot of better heroes out there. Just Kylo wouldn't be too bad if there just wasn't so many outstanding heroes out there. But anyway, I think we're done with Kylo. Let's move on to the next person, which is Han. Alright guys, we got Han Solo. I'm really mad at this point. I've spent a ton of time on this damn video, and now the freaking Han clip did not save, so I'm having to redo this again. But I have deleted my old Han clip and all of my gameplay, so well, what is it gonna be? It's just gonna be these two pictures of Han's weaknesses and strengths. I am getting very tired and sick of recording at this point because I have spent a ton of time doing this already, and I'm not going to, okay, at this point I have to stop. Alright, we're going over Han's strengths and weaknesses. Han's strengths are that he is a hero melter. If you're not paying attention to Han, he'll absolutely melt your face in a matter of seconds with his sharpshooter ability, so watch out for Han. Another one of Han's strengths is that he has a bit of CC in forms of his detonate charge and his shoulder charge. His detonate is able to knock people back, and his shoulder charge is able to disorientate people, to stun them for a little while. So whatever ways you can find to use those tiny forms of CC, use them because they are useful. Now, Han's third strength, at this point I barely even remember what I am saying, is that Han has he is quite elusive. His black jacket makes him quite hard to it gives him a bit of camouflage in certain maps, and his small hitbox means that it is hard for lightsaber heroes to hit him when Han is dodging, and even blaster users to hit him because he has a small hitbox. Anyway, Han's weaknesses is that he is a glass cannon sitting at around 600 HP. He can get blown up in seconds by the likes of Vader or any hero user. But in my opinion, Han's biggest setback is his aim. Now, if you guys have played with Han in any way, you guys will know that his little crosshair is just tiny white dot in the middle of the screen, and it can be absolutely infuriating in places such as Mos Eisley, which is quite bright, and you basically don't see where you're aiming. So that is I think Han's biggest weakness, and his close range. Han's pistol, as if being the tiny white dot little crosshair, and his lack of a scope means that he has he struggles a lot with his range. Trying to snipe people, it's just not possible with that. It just doesn't happen with Han. And one more thing that I forgot to add on the picture is that he's quite vulnerable. His vulnerability when using sharpshooter, when he is using sharpshooter, although he can shoot fast, he does not move at all. His movement speed is almost reduced to 0. He can't dodge, he can't jump, he can barely move at all. So that's gonna be it. Sorry about no video clip here, guys. I don't know why, something screwed up. It didn't save and I got mad, so I'm doing this. So anyway, moving on to Vader, where I will have a video for you guys. Alright, sitting at number 8 is Darth Vader. Another fan favorite. You have to work quite hard to get him, but unfortunately Vader Vader's not the best out there. He's good, but he's not the best. So anyway, let's go over Vader's strengths and weaknesses. Vader's strength is that he's a tank. He has the most base HP in the game, and when you get him to max out star cards, he'll have 1,050 health, which is by far the most in the game. He's an absolute tank. He can go through multiple enemies with ease. Next up, Vader has a very strong arm. His animations are really good because they're really fast, and they're just simple, fast, and very strong lightsaber hits. And I think that they're probably the highest damage dealing lightsaber hits out there, which means that Vader can absolutely punish his enemies. Especially when he has his focused rage on, he can absolutely melt through heroes in seconds. And that brings me to his third strength, which is his ability to go on absolutely amazing kill streaks. He can clear out the whole team in a mere seconds when he uses his focused rage and just starts swinging ham. Vader's last strength is his heavy emphasis on heavy use of CC. Now, his Force Choke is an amazing ability, giving Vader probably the most crowd control, insane ability in the game, having the ability to absolutely paralyze and render useless the entire enemy team for multiple seconds, allowing his team to deal free damage on the enemy team. Now, that this also ties in to Vader's weaknesses. So one of Vader's weaknesses is his vulnerability when using his Force choke. Now, a good Force choke will cripple an enemy team, but if Vader only gets half the team on the Force choke, he is just basically sitting duck. Vader cannot dodge or do anything in the animation of Force choke, which means that if he only gets one person and lets the other person go, then Vader is basically dead. Vader's biggest weakness is his well, one of his two big weaknesses are that he is very slow and he is very big. Vader is pretty slow, having no mobility abilities, and just generally has a slow run. He has got his Force jump, but his dash is medium at best. So Vader has a tough time keeping up with his team, and sometimes it's just left behind in the dust. And honestly, I think this is probably his biggest weakness, is Vader's huge hitbox. He is an absolutely gigantic target, very easy to hit, and can die and can be shot very easily by blaster heroes, and that is why I think Vader just does not top the list, is not even higher on the list. Alright, I think we're done here. This video is getting really long, so let's keep pushing it. Alright guys, I made an executive decision. I didn't realize that this video would take this long to make. I'm really sorry about it guys, but I've spent a ton of time today and yesterday. I've been working on this video for quite a long time, and it just seems like the video is gonna, like, you know, be very long as it is, as my Darth Vader section I just recorded was 4 minutes. So I think I'm gonna have to stop it at part 1 today, just because of how long this video is taking, and it's unhealthy to have like a 30-minute YouTube video that is not a live stream. So I'm gonna cut it off for right now at number 8, Darth Vader, right in the middle, right halfway through all the heroes. So I think that's gonna be pretty fitting. Yeah, I'll come out with part 2 tomorrow, and you guys can count on that. So just something to look forward to. Anyway, I'm really sorry about it. Please leave your comments down in the comment section of what you think of my list. You feel free to just flame me for some of my picks or whatever. But anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, please subscribe, because this took a long time. Now I repeat, this took a very long time to make, and it's gonna take me a lot more time to finish the videos. But anyway, peace out. Hope you guys have a great day. See you later.